Hey everyone, Monica Jazik from RPI Education, and welcome to the Financial Freedom Summit. In this series, you'll hear from 21 experts sharing powerful wealth building strategies that 98% of people are not using. These interviews are packed with real actionable steps to help you fast track your financial freedom. So let's jump in with today's guest, Joey Ragona. Joey, how are you?
Couldn't be any better. This is super, super cool. We haven't talked in a little while, so I'm super excited about today. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, Joey, when we were doing this project, I said, I have to have Joey on this because one, you're all about financial freedom, and two, you are our longtime business coach. So this is amazing. I have a
Thank you.
quick bio here. I'm going to read to the audience and then let's get into it.
Okay.
All right. So Joey is the founder of Strategic Business Academy and creator of the Unfunnel Method, helping heart-centered coaches, consultants, and practitioners simplify their business, attract dream clients, and sell without pressure. Through his signature Atlas program, Joey shows entrepreneurs how to co-create offers with their dream clients, build authentic relationships, and create calm, profitable businesses without complicated funnels, hypes, or chasing people. My gosh, I'm having flashbacks of our coaching days now, Joey. This is all amazing stuff, and it's all so true. It is all so true.
Thank you. It sounds weird like hearing it back, when someone reads it like that. And thank you. And you were part of the whole evolution of that.
I know. I love that too. I love, and whenever I'm doing my coaching, I just want you to know how impacted Vaughn and I were from receiving coaching from you for over 5 years.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was so powerful that we always model all the coaching and our own techniques and stuff back to you, which was really kind of raw, real advice. And but really like you are really good at stripping all the glam and all the fluff off all of it and really showing people what they need. So we absolutely love that. And I
Thank
think
you.
that's what people need more of because there's a lot of people who are trying to get financial freedom and they're trying to get this information and you're like a perfect person because one, you even wrote your book
Hmm.
years and years ago, Breaking the Freedom Barrier.
There, yep.
And that was I still have copies of that book.
Thank you.
That was a great book. And so I think that you'll have a lot of value to add to this conversation. Can you quickly tell us the financial freedom strategy or the wealth building strategy that you've used to create financial freedom in your life and why you think it's so underused?
Simplification would be the one quick answer. And when you know that when it comes to real estate, that was again simplification to do one thing and one thing really well and let your life become this very boring piece of it, where that's where wealth creation is. And I think that the more complex we make things, uh, we're not really in freedom. We're always in constant motion. We're always in, stress levels, even if we don't really feel it, but our subconscious is there. So for me, it's always been about how do I just make this really, really simple and live a life that I design right now and build a business around that. I think that was the biggest thing for me because so many people, they build a business and then try to fit their life into it, right? And I was doing all of that too. And when I grew up a little bit and thought, wait a minute, why don't I design freedom first? What does it look like right now? And build around that, everything began to change. And I think that a lot of the problem with that mindset or view is that people sometimes want more freedom than what they can imagine. And or it's really big and they're like, well, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to get that freedom right now? So they're living either too much in the future or they're not really able to look at what would be really cool right now. And if you remember, you talked about the book. One of the biggest things I used to challenge people with, I still challenge them, but even when I was at the real estate events talking about passion, if you remember that piece, and I said, people used to tell me all the time they're passionate about real estate, and I would call BS on it. And said, it's impossible to be passionate about real estate. You can't be passionate about bricks and mortar, right? but you can be passionate about a life. And so that's where it all began, is like, what would my life look like right now if it was really, really cool with just a little bit of amplifiers outside of it? What does freedom look like right now, and build a business around that?
I love that. And one impactful statement you always said, and I always share this and I quote you for this, is when you always used to ask, what are you trading your life for?
It's right there on top of my monitor. If I turned my thing, you'd see that right there. It's yellowed out. It's been there since, before I was coaching you, because that's what John Asseroff asked me, or he asked me to ask my clients when I was first getting clients. And that impacted me so much. There used to be a time where I could not say that without weeping a little bit, because it was
Mhm.
so impactful of what that meant. What does it mean for you when you ask that question?
Well, what it means for me basically is before I make any major decision, because we only have certain amount of hours in the day, and we'll get into wearing a badge of busyness because I know you're ready to throw me under the bus. Anything that you're doing and taking in your life, when you do your sort of self-assessment
Yeah,
to really see in your business where you get joy from, where you're getting stress from, whatever, you should always check in with yourself and do an assessment saying, what are you trading your life for? So say
right.
if there's like a client that might be particularly cumbersome or, not pleasant to be around, maybe that's even someone you ask yourself, am I in
Yeah.
this to help people or am I in this just to serve people just to get money or am I doing this to get joy? And what I was actually thinking about when you were saying this, because I could challenge you right now and said, what are you trading your life for right now, Joey? You would say, well, I'm trading my life right now because this is your valuable time to share some really valuable pieces of wisdom and my story with thousands of others
Hmm.
who are really seeking to get financial freedom in their life. And I'm here to inspire others. That's what I'm trading. And to me, I think that's always a really good trade. And for all the speakers in this project, the most amazing thing is everyone's like, yeah, I want to help. I'm like, do y'all want to be part of this to inspire people? We're gathering some great minds together and to show people what's possible. No one was like, oh, pay me or how much money
Right.
or anything. Everyone was like, or what do I get? They're like, yes.
Right.
I love it because I think most people, we are really here to serve.
Right. And you know what? On that point, well, let's pull the curtain back a little bit, just so to the listeners, because, when you and I were talking about this, it wasn't really about how am I going to get paid? What am I going to get out of this? But it was our conversation first was like, well, wait a minute, am I really right for this? Because,
Mhm.
you know, I am going to trade my time for that. And then so when I look at trading time, it's about the whole question for me is at the end of my life, I'm going to look back at the question and look back at this moment and say, was that a waste of an hour or two with Monica? Did I trade my life for nothing? And that's how I make the decision, not because of paid and all these other things. And that's why you and I had that discussion first to say, well, are you sure? Like, is this the right thing for both of us? And we both agreed and like, yeah, we should do this, right? And so that's just for the listeners to understand that, you matter. And it's not about being selfish or being grandiose about anything. It's that I've learned that our time is so precious that when we're building a life of freedom, and it gives us the ability and I guess the platforms to share our knowledge with other people because we're mission driven, we're purpose driven. We want to help, but we also want to be directed in the right place. And so
Mhm.
we don't say yes to everything. And that's one of the biggest problems with businesses or people trying to build businesses is they say yes way more than they say no. And it's the opposite, right? And it's not that you think you're better than anybody else because you say no. It's because you're protecting your time so that when you're on a call like this, you can be totally engaged and totally focused. Like we just talked about people with back to back to back to back to back. Like I don't have those things, right? So my energy is completely here. I'm focused on here. I'm not picking up my phone or getting messages slamming through here going, "Oh, I better look at that." And my distraction is gone. So no, it's right about
Absolutely.
here. And so did I did I regret being here on the hour? At the end of my life, I'm going to say, no, that was absolutely great. No matter what happens, like I don't, there's not, who knows what's going to happen, but I know that at least one person is going to be impacted by our discussion today. And
And it
that's
will
cool.
live forever. It's recorded and it shall live forever.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit like what you were doing to build wealth before you started coaching, before you started, doing real estate investing, any of these sort of things. And what pivotal moment happened in your life where you really knew that you had to make a change?
Yeah. So, I mean, we can go back far, but I don't think I was really look at building wealth when I was started my first businesses, and we can talk a little bit about that too if you want to bring those up. But it was more about like, how do I just, be an entrepreneur and not work for somebody else? It was more about that. Like, how do I just not go work for somebody else, right? And I think that the pivotal moment for me to build wealth was when my dad died because, I was working with him in the family business, and I learned so much from him. And then he died at 60 years old. I'm 60, like now. Like I'm thinking, holy crap, like I'm just the same age as my dad and when he died. And the one thing I learned from him was that uh, he did everything possible that an entrepreneur could do. Like he's the epitome of an entrepreneur. And I learned so much from him, but I also learned how he was sacrificing his life for his business. And that, by the way, I'm ADD, so you'll see me jumping all over the place. You already know that, but I think that like that's where I defined understood what my purpose was many years after he passed. Like, this is why I'm put on this earth to help people understand that it's not about sacrificing, right? Yes, you put in a little bit of extra work, weekends here and there, but so many people sacrifice their life for their business and it's decades on. And that's what my purpose is. But back to your question is, when he died, it was uh and I got like I sold my partnership or part of the company because I had ownership of the family company and I had all this money and we were paid off in debts and everything. We were like debt free. Like we were in the position that everybody wants to be in.
Hmm.
All paid off, a car, we got money in the bank, like all that stuff. And it was like, you know what should I do with this money? And I didn't know anything about real estate. And that's when it hit me that I'm going to save the legacy of my dad some way, shape, or form. And I'm going to learn about real estate. And that was the moment when I guess subconsciously it was about building wealth. But it started out with how do I preserve my dad's legacy with this money that I got from the company rather than going to Hawaii for 10 years and partying and then worrying about it. Like how am I going to live the rest of my life? That was
Yeah.
the pivotal point.
And thanks for sharing that. That must be so impactful now. You're the same age. There must be a lot of thoughts going on. Have you done any restructuring now with, because I know how introspective you are and how your
Hmm.
amazing mind works. I'm wondering now, that is a huge revelation to you're so aware and always doing this, inventory of
Yeah.
self-assessment. Now you are the same age as when your dad passed. Has that given any more insights to how you continue to recreate yourself and devote yourself to this life of freedom?
Yeah, definitely. For the longest time, I had this, I guess this goal, if you want to call it that, or this mantra of 60. Like, when I was 40 and 50 and
Mhm.
still doing things, I'm like, 60 is the Belize, right? 60 is the Belize. And I hit it. And I thought back then it would be like 60 is when I hit everything and everything is like amazing. Like I got properties like lower, I got all these things, right? And I'm not there. And I'm like, so I did some inner reflection. I'm like, okay, well, what was I saying to the universe? I thought that if you put this out to the universe that you're supposed to get this thing, right? And I think a lot of people think this too with the whole secrets and the manifestation and you
Mhm.
manifest the car and boom, it's there. Like I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Well, you know what? It doesn't mean that. It means that I had this what I call life tuition up to now, up to 60. Um, and it's the beginning. It's the beginning of the Belize. It's the beginning of the new world of what's coming, right?
Mhm.
Opening more doors. So I went through all the crap. I went through all the revelations. I went through, and that doesn't mean that more is coming. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to continue simplifying things and making it simple because I know that my dad was all over the place.
Mhm.
And so I saw him do that, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that at all because I've been simplifying, but it's more about becoming more about me and surrounding myself with only people that align with who I am and being able to share that with the world. And the one thing my dad didn't do was share with the world like what he was all about. He was very closed, right? We only knew him. I remember always telling people, and my mom and we'd always say that, if you're lucky enough for my dad to start giving you crap and making fun of you and all this stuff, that means he loves you. He loves you more than you would know it. Because we'd have to explain it to people, right?
Mhm.
And so I don't want that. I want the world to know exactly who I am, and I continue to do that. So that's the change I'm making, so that the right people align with me, and I can continue on to the next 60 years of my life.
That's amazing. And it's also a great role model for your two kids too,
Yeah.
to encourage them to be the same. Because it's kind of funny how family dynamics work.
Yeah.
Like we have four kids, and sometimes some of our kids will act exactly like, say, my dad.
Yeah.
Which is so funny, or my mom. So like some of them have these same personality things. So it's so important that you do that and teach that, because in turn one of your kids might end up inheriting one of his natural dispositions, and by you modeling this new thing gives them another perspective as well. So
Yeah.
plus you have
Yeah.
time with them too. I know you spend a lot of time with your kids while you're growing your coaching business, because I know you're always like number one dad.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but we had I tried my best, and that's where, putting this "what are you willing to trade your life for" on the wall meant something to me because, when Matthew was growing up, my first, and I was in the studio, I didn't have time for him, and that's one of the regrets of my life because um, the business was first. This was where we talk about sacrifice, right? Where it's like, I'm doing this for my family. Of course, I have to be down here 24/7. Well, I don't have time to go up there and play right now with him. So bring him downstairs and put him in the vocal booth, and I'll play peekaboo with him. And that's what I did. Like what a goofball. Like I look back at that, and people, I don't know, if sometimes people don't want to really admit that they regret some certain things, and I regret that. I really, really do. But I make up for it. I'm trying to make up for it as much as possible, but it taught me a lesson. And what it taught me was, A, I was sacrificing my life, which was BS, and I have to do something different because if I'm sacrificing 10 years of my life for my family, I'm really lying to myself. Like there's other
yeah.
things we could do. And we can all talk about that too, like freedom and taking things away, whatever, to make your business more efficient. But then when Nicole was born, and she was, I don't know, maybe the same age, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And I have the thing on my wall now, and she's coming over here. And I'm pointing out to my office here, like the door, and she's like, "Hey, Daddy, I want to go play basketball." And I'm sitting there writing an email, right? I'm like, okay. And I'm going, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just give me 5 minutes, and boom, right? I look at the thing and go, "What the hell am I trading my life for? For this next 20 minutes?" That I can't go outside and play basketball with my daughter because that's what I did with my son. Right? Let me just
Yeah.
finish this mix. Let me just finish this one edit and I'll be right there. Right? And so that's what it taught me. I don't know if I was answering the question or not, but I went on a
You
tangent there for
so
some reason.
answered that question, and it was just so full on and real and impactful. And I always love that story. And it reminds me, I never heard the Nicole story, but I heard the story before about the DJ, the peekaboo. And that really impacted me because I used to say, "Oh, I'm a stay-at-home. I want to be a stay-at-home mom." And I was not. And you really
Yeah.
kind of helped us get awareness, like, you are not being a stay-at-home mom. You're being a basket case and a crazy investor who's just doing anything but parenting. And I too regret that, because like I say, when we made $1 million of mistakes in real estate investing, like when we first met you and you helped us clear out through all those weeds and restructure our real estate business, I will never regret the mistakes we made, because it made us
Right.
excellent consultants. And we now have a genuine purposeful business where we can tell people we've been there, we done that.
Yeah.
You messed up here, so did we. Like, we could help you. But I will always regret that time away from the kids when I too, because let's face it, and kids, plug your ears if there's kids listening. Sometimes you're not as fun as chasing a real estate deal or doing a
Yeah.
mix or focusing on a passion project. Although we always say we're doing things for our kids, some of our own interests as human beings sometimes seem a little more interesting. But that's
Right.
really not what parenting's about, because at the end of the day and end of all of it, and you look back and you see now, we both were talking about how our kids have grown up. These are just cherished times.
Right.
And so you really got to like compartmentalize those times for your kids. A lot of real estate investors go out and business owners say, "My junior business partners," and that's what they coin their kids. And your kid does not give two hoots about real estate. They want to be at the park with you pushing them on a swing, and that's all you're thinking about. And your stories really, really kind of just went back and just really kind of reminded me of that, to the point that what am I trading my life for? I'm designing a purposeful business around my family schedule. So I always make sure our schedules go family, fitness, and then business.
Yeah, it's important because remember, I'm sure you know the answer to this, and anybody listening to this would probably answer the same thing, which is one of the biggest things that what do people say when you say, why are you buying all this real estate for? Like, what do you want more of? And they'll say, spend more time with my family. Like that's one of the number one answers you get. And so my challenge is, well, why don't you start designing that right now? Why don't you start, instead of filling your calendar with real estate events and looking at properties, nothing wrong with this, right? Nothing wrong with it. But why
Mhm.
don't you start filling your calendar with family time first? Like fill all the things you want to do first
Yep.
and then fit all the other stuff around it. Yes, there's a time when, oh, I got to go see this deal. Like I really got to go. I get it. But besides that, like that, you can't tell me this happens every single day. That's
Yep.
BS if you're telling yourself that, right? And that's what I would get involved with. A lot of people would tell me that, especially in real estate. Like, no, I got to get this deal. I got to see this deal. Like, dude, you're sacrificing your life. You're telling me you want a better life and be with your family, and you're getting up off the dinner table to run out to go to a freaking event to learn
Mhm.
about condos just in case
Yeah.
when you're buying single family homes. Why? Like, what for? Are you going to buy a condo next week? Well, maybe in the future, maybe in a couple of years.
Mhm.
Then you just told your family you're not important. The condos are, right?
Yeah.
Like,
That
holy
is
crap.
so right. That is so right, Joey. See, that's so spot on. Like, for example, another thing you taught me too is when kids come home from school, so they want to debrief sometimes.
Yeah,
And sometimes they come home and I'm online or I have a client meeting or I'm looking at a deal or I'm checking emails. Now deliberately schedule that, 3:30 to 4 o'clock as a appointment to debrief with the kids. So maybe they want
right.
to talk to me, maybe they don't, but at least they know that if they need to chat, you're physically there. So you taught me how to schedule a lot of these things, which is life
Yep.
as appointments. My day is filled with appointments from 5:30 in the morning. I know that scares you.
Yeah.
All the
That's
way till
okay.
10 o'clock at night. My day is filled with
Hmm.
nonstop appointments, but some of those appointments might be meditation.
I love it.
Some of those appointments are maybe a tennis match. Some of those appointments are my kids. And even before we jumped onto this, Chanel came with her volleyball permission form and said, the tournament is in November 6th or something. I said, grab my phone and put that in the calendar
Love
right
it.
now. Because
Love it.
on that day, I'm not going to schedule anything over actually being there. And then some days, like we're doing a 2-day conference this weekend, we do two a year. She has a soccer game. She needs to get a ride
Yeah.
or she needs to miss it. That's okay. You can't
Yeah.
go everywhere at once. So I think you taught me your business really is your life. And I think
Yeah,
that
it is.
success, yeah, you really kind of contribute like the entrepreneur business and the family life. You can combine that. I think that's the real freedom right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really about like again, I always come back to what does your perfect life look like? You like the 5:30 and scheduled and all these things. I'm completely opposite. I want, I want to sleep in. I get up at now what, 8 o'clock or something like that. And then my whole morning is all me. It's all about me. I don't care. There's nothing that happens in the morning before 1 o'clock in my days. Never. Except one Friday a month when I do one thing for Kajabi. But that's it. And they know that too. They
Yeah.
even announce that because they know me so well. They're like,
Mhm.
you know why he's here? Like this, he's doing a special thing. Not that I'm better than anybody else, but they're like, he's taking this time out of his normal routine that every Friday he doesn't work at all. He's off the grid to come here and show up for us, right? So when people know and they respect your calendar, or I should say you respect your calendar and time, then other people will too. One of the other things I did too, I don't know if this relates or is it resonant, but I'll say it anyway, was when I was coaching first, I would have my calendar open. And back then I started with like, again, 3-day weekends. I started this in 2012. Like I'm
Mhm.
no Fridays, but the 4 days are my work days. And it was still from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. But I would have open days for anybody. Like it would be like, you want to get on a call and book it into one of these days. I don't know when it was, but it was maybe 3 years ago where I said, no, I'm closing off the rest of the week, and you only can
Mhm.
talk to me if you want to book a call on Monday. That's it. 1 to 4
Yeah.
Mondays, and that's it. And people would say, well, yeah, but you might lose a client because they can't get
Mhm.
on Monday. I'm like, I get it, but I'm not going to shift my life to keep my entire calendar open just for the possibility that somebody
Yeah.
can't do a Monday. If they really, really wanted to talk to me, they would email me and say, Joey, is there
Mhm.
any chance they can, you know what I mean? Like a real dream client? Because we're
Yes.
talking now about people that you love and adore and you want them in your life, not because they pay you, but
Mhm.
because they're awesome humans. That's
Mhm.
dream clients, right? And so they would email you and they would say, can we do something else? And then you might be able to bend a little bit. But
Mhm.
and this is I think it does resonate with what we're talking about because this is about freedom. The more you're bending the rules all the time, that's not freedom. You're not living a life of freedom. I'm
Yeah.
never saying don't be adaptable. I'm not saying don't be rigid, but I was finding myself whatever it took. Like, yeah, I'll break that rule, right?
Mhm.
Just because Monica wants to get in and do a coaching call in that way. Okay, I'll go do that. No,
Mhm.
this is the way it goes. And
Yeah.
you have to respect yourself and your time. That's where freedom comes in for me.
Because if you, it doesn't, because otherwise you're very reactive. You're just fielding
Yeah.
spontaneous calls. And if it doesn't serve you, you know yourself that you can't offer things with your client, then it
Yeah.
doesn't serve your client. And so I set my call schedule. You have to book an appointment a week in advance
Right.
and for very specific hours. I can't talk to anyone before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm no good. I'm busy doing all the other stuff and getting that other
Same here.
time in. And then I'm so fueled and excited, I'm able to prepare and talk on those times forward. But I need that week to ramp up because the schedule is preset. So every week when I'm opening up that calendar, it's like, oh, there it is. There's my
Yep.
week.
Yep.
This is what I'm doing. It goes on the board. Everyone sees, everyone in the family knows exactly what we're doing. Oh,
Yep.
Monica's on a call with Joey right now. It's 4. I'm not going to bother her.
Love it. I love
So
it.
it's everyone has it. So I love that. And you really taught us how to do that. I think
Thank
that
you.
really is liberating. Can you walk us through, because I know very specific business strategies which have evolved tremendously. Can
Hmm.
you walk us through your strategy now that you're using and how you use the strategy really not only just to fast track your wealth, but to create financial freedom in your life as well as in your client's life? Because I know that you are very authentic. Like what you tell other people to do, you are doing yourself.
Yes.
And I
Thank
do
you.
the exact same thing now because
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that. And I just want to receive that for a second. It just means, yeah, it means a lot when people can see through the marketing or through the lines of code or whatever it is, and they see that he walks his talk. And I hear that a lot. And I would overlook that sometimes. And I would just go, well, thank you. That's really nice of you to say.
Mhm.
And I realized earlier on, or a couple years ago, that no, dude, you gotta receive those messages or receive that gift. And I think that like being authentic has been overused so much. They just use it as a marketing language. And so the strategy that I use, if you want to call that a strategy, is really that. It's about who am I? Like backing up and really doing the work of about who am I? And I have this quadrant called the superpower matrix, which is it's tied to marketing. Like how do you get out there and put yourself in front of the world? And on the left, or sorry, the top right quadrant is about what you believe in, your passions, your values, all of that. And this is the quadrant where most people get messed up because it's so difficult. For me, it's not difficult because I've always been this way. I've always been about here I am, take it or leave it, right?
Mhm.
And and I wanted to talk to that for a second because when I say that, I don't want people to think, well, who does the guy think he is? Like he just doesn't give a crap about people, and they're right, or they were right because I used to be like that. It's like, don't care what you think, you're wrong, and you're an idiot. Go stand over there, right?
Mhm.
And then I grew up, like when my dad passed and all these things. I'm like, wow, okay. So then I started building the business. Then I'm like, I still don't care what people think, but I respect them. They have a
Mhm.
different opinion, and that's okay. Just go over there and let's not interject with each other. That's okay, right? So I still have this passion of like, just this is who I am. And then I put that into a strategy of how do I build wealth around this? How do I build my business around this? Well, again, let's go back to my dad. I learned from my dad that he built his business around this one concept of these people that I work with are all my friends.
Mhm.
And there's two camps out there. If you ask anybody in your world right now, I bet you that there's two sides. One will say it's impossible to be friends with your clients. The other one will say, no, you can be friends with your clients. And that's where I live. I live on, yes, you can be friends. You and I are friends, Monica.
Mhm.
When I was coaching you, you were my client and we were friends, or right? Was there ever a moment in our conversations where I said, okay, the friendship is now off and now I'm
Mhm.
your coach?
Mhm.
No.
No, it was always from a point of love and a point of, but it was always very professional too.
Yeah, but
Did it?
there was no jump.
Mhm.
It was like,
No.
okay, he cares about me, or you would know that I'm in coach mode. Like I didn't have to tell you, is what I'm trying to say. Right? And even if I was in coach mode and you were like upset at me or I was pissing you off or whatever, it would
Which
be
you
like,
did all the time.
yeah, like all the time. So, but at the end of the day, it's like we leave friends. Like it's just,
Yeah.
and that's what I mean. So I learned from you, like, so I have to give you massive amount of credit, massive amount, because I'm telling you, and I'm not trying to blow smoke. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today as a coach because you at that moment, you, um, man, you validated what I do. Um, because I remember it was like, I kind of look at this and it's a bad reference, but to someone who is contemplating suicide, like I'm
Mhm.
out, I'm done, right? And I remember driving home and I'm like, I'm out, I'm done, not doing this coaching anymore. I'm too aggressive, I'm too this, I'm too that. And then you emailed me the next day and that was it. The rest is history. But I don't know what would have happened had you not done that. Like I really don't.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that. And then I stepped into everything you're telling me now and the rules, and like I just strip away the honesty or stripped away all the crap and just get right down to the root of things. And that's what I build my business around. And wealth comes from that authenticity, I should say, right? It comes from working with people that you love and adore. And I was trying to say this true. I mean, back in the day with real estate as well, with the avatars, I was teaching that, saying,
Yeah.
well, if you want to raise money, do it with people that you want to hang out with, not because they can write a check. Do it with people like that. And I really wasn't yet on the dream client thing because now it's evolved, right? Like it's not an avatar anymore. It's a deeper thing.
Mhm.
But back then I was still on that path of like, well, why would I want to work with anybody that I don't kind of jive with, that I wouldn't want to just, right, go to the
Yeah.
restaurant and go over the financials and stuff. And if I really just hate this person or can't really stand them, but they've given me money and I owe them this thing. Like to me, that was insane. So the wealth building now is about that. It's about like first, it's about who you want in your life,
Mhm.
right? It's about you, design your life, design your freedom, and then who's the person you want to be a part of that. The business isn't even there yet. It's this first. Do you have that person? Is Monica somebody that I would want to go and hang out with, regardless of whatever it is? There's nothing to do with her giving me money or anything. Yeah, cool. And then when we have conversations, it's like, wait a minute, Monica, you have some money that you want to invest. Holy crap, I'm an investor.
Mhm.
Let me share with what I got. Like so, then a business evolves or something comes of it because of the relationship that we have.
A natural synergy, I think.
Yes, that's a better way of putting it.
Natural synergy just, and it's based on, like, because you always said choose your clients, like you would choose your partner. Life's too short to do business with people. I remember one time I was actually talking to someone asking about them because our PI education team is all different professionals and stuff coming together. And I went on there and I talked to this person about something, and they were very, very abrasive online. And I didn't jive with them at all. And I left that conversation feeling horrible.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, I went back and I said, you know what? Thank you for your time, but I'm chosen not to pursue this right now.
Hmm.
And I was really proud of myself, and I would learn that, from you. And I think from when we first met, and people now to put in context about how I almost made you want to quit coaching. I think we're very, very similar in the sense that we're both very, very hard-head upfront, hard-headed.
Yeah.
And guys, full confession, I showed up to Joey's mastermind and tried to pitch a table full of people by telling them how cool I was because I was a supersonic mother and real estate investor, and I could do everything anywhere for anyone. And I am the coolest thing because I really genuinely thought I was at that time, fresh out and new in the real estate world. And Joey cut me off at the knees, to the point that
Wow.
almost reduced me to tears. And I hired him as our coach the next day
Yeah, it was
because I knew
so
I needed a total makeover. The truth hurts, but let's talk
wow.
about freedom. The truth will set you free. The truth, and
Yeah.
we went through, you helped us break down a lot of these
Yeah.
false stories that we're taught, a lot of anchors that was
Yeah.
weighing us down. And I think it all came because you're such an authentic coach. You had the exact same thing. I think my experience, what I was doing was pretty much the same. And you remembered that day in that DJ booth with the peekaboo, and you're like, I'm not going to let another one get through this. And that's how I feel. Someone once asked me, are you a coach or a consultant? And I said, well, what's the difference? They said, a coach helps people, discover what it is they want to achieve and moves them along. A consultant's going to tell them how to get to XYZ fast and quickly with minimum mistakes and, really make a change. And I said, that one. I'm that one. I don't want them to experience more of the same. And I remember a lot of the things I would say, Julie, what do you think about? And you'd be like, no. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I read on YouTube that it said blah blah blah. I don't even think there was YouTube when we were coaching
Yeah.
this a while ago. And you'd be like, no, 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 no. And be focused, or you're not working on that, you're working on this. And you always said, can you give the analogy that you always talked about digging the post? Because that's really important for people who are looking for freedom, because you always defined yourself as a focus coach. And I
Yeah.
always call you as a focus coach. Can you give that analogy of building the fence post analogy?
Yeah, I think that analogy I learned it from someone. And it wasn't mine, but I loved it. And it was, when you want to build this fence, if I can remember, it's, I haven't told this story in a long time, but it's like if you want to build this fence, a lot of people will just go in and they will just plunk in posts along the way, like really quickly, and then they put the thing together, and then it just doesn't hold up like against any pressure whatsoever because they didn't spend the time to actually dig a hole deep enough for the post. And so that's what the work is. The work is building holes deep enough so that you anchor one post that it'll never move, and that's a foundational post. And so we don't do that, but I do. So even in my work now, there's three major foundations, and it's curate the tribe, which is what I kind of just said now, is like choose your tribe. Like choose them before you start selling anything. And the next post is serve to sell. You serve because these are people that you want to hang out with. Like it just makes so much sense to me that if you want to go and hang out with them every Saturday night, you're not worried about selling because they're just cool people. But yes, at the end of the day, there might be somebody who buys. But if you serve them, then guess what? Some of those will become clients because you're just having awesome conversations. And that's another post, right? It's a pillar. And then the third one is respect their timeline, which is another pillar post. So you've had these conversations, you've given them stuff. You know this, and everybody listening knows this. Like, well, I've gone to their place and I've given them all the reports, and I've done this, I've done whatever they've done, and they think it's enough. They think that, well, I've given them the 5 steps or there's 5 emails that they were supposed to get, and now they're supposed to buy from me. No, they're not. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you, they don't owe you anything. What you owe them is clarity, is how and trust. And so if you don't like the person, right, this is not for your tribe, but generally, this is what I find is like a lot of people just want leads and they're just like, well, they didn't buy from me. And so we'll go have conversation with them. Screw the conversation. I'm going to just open up more leads because they want to make the sale right then and there. So I kind of intertwined my strategy, I guess, with the post. But yeah, if you don't put those posts in and dig the hole deep enough, your fence is not going to be strong enough to hold anything.
And that's what entrepreneurs do. They start on this fence and whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a real estate investor, whatever, you start on one thing and then you lose interest and you get shiny penny syndrome and you go to a next thing and to a next thing and a
Oh
next.
yeah.
If we don't get these systems, like you said, we're never going to build this fence that we need. And that's why I always love that focus
Okay, yeah.
is boring, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
That's
Then
another piece.
entrepreneurship and real estate is supposed to be exciting, but usually it's only exciting really when something's going wrong, right?
Yeah, so you brought up that's the piece I forgot. Thank you for reminding me of that. That's the other pieces. You're right. So they put one post in, they put another one in and another one, and they've got all these different posts going in. Whereas if you look at what I just said, and I have three main pillar posts that are deep, that's a solid fence. If you put a fence there, you ain't getting through that. But if you
Yeah.
put all these other things, like that's where my focus is. I've been speaking about that for 5 years straight, and I know here's something too, in when it comes to marketing, or I guess your message or branding, whatever you want to call it. When some people start to say, dude, you got to stop talking about that and start talking about something different, your message is getting clear or is
Mhm.
already clear, because that's the person who doesn't want to hear it. They're not probably your dream client, whatever, and that's cool. But when people start getting annoyed with you saying the same thing again and again, you've got your foundation built.
Yes, that is so true because that's what you stand for.
Hmm.
That's what we need to build our platform, whether you're an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, anything, or like a head of a family, you need to build this platform and know what you stand for. What are you trading this life for? Otherwise, your business is going to run you. Your family
Yeah.
will run you and your real estate investments will run you, whatever it is that you're working on. We always want to be steering the ship. I think, with great responsibility comes great freedom. And if we
Yep.
kind of give ourselves that responsibility by creating these systems, we could really achieve that freedom.
Yeah, and even speaking about going to the real estate area, I remember focusing down and niching down. And I would focus on single family homes and never selling. Like that was the strategy, right? So when I would go to joint ventures, they would say, "Okay, great. How much money are we going to make?" And when in 5 years from now, blah blah. Like, oh, we ain't selling. 5 years from now, we might be able to, refinance or something, but we're not selling. That's the strategy, period. And I
Mhm.
would only want people who like that. There were never people like, "Well, I wanted my money in, I want my money out." So it was very focused, and I didn't talk to anything else about other stuff. Even though you can make money everywhere and all kinds of different things. I never went into flips, and never went into condos, and never went like whatever. It was just like, this is what I do, and I do it really, really well. And today, I'm still exactly the same thing. Even one of my joint venture partners a couple years ago said, "Oh, dude, like the properties went up like crazy, man. We should sell." And go, like, dude, what did I tell you when we first started? Let's pull our money out, and now we're in for free. So we got
Mhm.
all our money back, right? And now
Yep.
the property went again up again. I'm like, see, look at all the equity we had. Imagine if we would have sold. So now we can
Hmm.
do it all over again, right?
Yep. And you steered that ship and you followed the partners and
That was it.
attracted the right people. And and a lot of that coaching too. I remember those conversations. We had several of them. I'll have clients come to me and we'll build out their wealth plan and what it is they're going to work on. And then they'll come to me and say, I was wondering what you thought about Airbnb hacking. And I'm like, and I remember something you told me very specifically. Oh, have you changed your model? Because I'm
Right.
pulling up your wealth plan now, and it
Yeah.
says, and I'll reread it to them, this and this and this and this. How does Airbnb, your goal is to build long-term wealth. How does this Airbnb wealth hacking contribute to this? And they'll say,
I
oh, well, I
love that.
just saw it on YouTube and I was just curious. Well, why are you focusing the time on YouTube and you're not doing these steps, these homework steps? If people
Love that.
take time doing the steps that they're supposed to be working on to go back to their goal, because goals should be recorded and reviewed on a daily basis,
Love it.
always go back, then it kind of refocuses that because then normally 9 times out of 10, you're right. I got distracted. I'm just a bit frustrated because XYZ. I'm waiting on mortgage approval, or, I'm still looking for a property, or I'm nervous. Like, I think people, a lot of them will distract themselves on purpose to stay away from the goal because sometimes it gets scary when you're getting closer and closer
Yeah,
to
success is
achieving these
is
goals.
it's huge. Like, I'm one of those people. Like, I'm the one who sabotages success, and I had to recognize that pattern, and I didn't realize it. And like, this is crazy. Why would anybody want to sabotage success? But I'm one of them who do it, and I see a lot of people do it, and you're right about distractions. And the other thing too, just to go to bring a framework around what you just said, is that if you remember, I think I wrote about this in the book too, about just-in-time learning and just-in-case learning, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people are just-in-case learners. Like, so, oh, well, I saw this Airbnb and it interested me, so I want to go check this out. Or they buy a book, and there's nothing, I want to make sure that there's nothing wrong with, you don't have to be a hermit, like forget about everything else and not be interested in something else. But it's when you focus on it because you're scared of this other thing. And a lot of times and like you said, success, you're scared of the success. And what that means, usually, at least for me and my clients, it's about the responsibility that comes with success. Like
Mhm.
and they don't realize it. They don't realize that there's this responsibility that they've bought in, that they've put into their goal because they haven't really defined it yet and what success means to them. And success also means growth, but they don't know that. And I know this too because when I reached my first 100,000 in my new business, it was like, okay, the goal is 100,000, right? And I hit that, and then I got after that, and then I thought everything would be amazing, and it got worse. It got worse because it had nothing to do with money. It had everything to do with holy crap. And we've talked about this too. Remember, I said, okay, wow, this is bringing back so many memories. I taught this so many times in our masterminds. I said, guys, the problem with businesses that fail is not because they don't have money and not because they don't have customers and clients. It's because they grow too fast.
Mhm.
And I mean, that was me spewing information that I didn't live. Okay.
Mhm.
And it felt right. I'm like, okay, well, these guys are saying it. And I'm telling you, Monica, that once I got there and realized that, holy crap, I completely understand what this means. And it means that the systems were not built to handle the growth.
Yeah.
And so that's why my business in the last year has been shut down, basically just on pause. Like, okay, go, hold it. Let's put the systems back in place because I need now to grow. Right. And so that's another big, huge learning for me.
Absolutely. We always have to be like introspective as entrepreneurs and have these times to really kind of do some self-assessment and reflection as well on how things are going. Because if you have a business, a good, impactful business, it's going to change with the times.
Yeah.
Unless you're in manufacturing and you're selling like a shoelace string, which doesn't have a soul and a heart or a purpose, like
Yeah.
then that's one thing. You're manufacturing a shoelace string, maybe you want to be more environmentally friendly or do whatever. And yes, you have to be aware of that, but you're pretty much kind of in the same business and doing the same thing over and over and over again. But imagine what's changed, like, or think about how much has changed even since we were working together with
Yeah.
AI, with phones, with technology, with life. Like, you always have to kind of, watch and be, and also us as
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and human beings. You just mentioned, I just reached 60, to you, that could be a total different meaning for life. How you choose to run your business, because it might impact your life. You might say, I'm off to Italy for 6 months of the year now.
Mhm.
And so this could totally, totally change things. So I think we always have to be growing and aware, and that's why we don't want to be cluttered and
No.
overwhelmed. We actually need to, like you said, simplify and work backwards so we could tap into our inner self and really have like a thinking Thursday or something where you kind of go in there and say, how am I doing? Is everything good? Where am I going? What do I find overwhelming? Where do I want to grow? What systems do I need to get there? I think systems really are definitely the key of this systems and freedom definitely have these links. Um,
Yeah. Freedom has a lot to do with systems.
Absolutely. Now, if you were starting from scratch today with no followers, no capital, no connections, what secret move would you use to get ahead fast?
I would go to areas where I'll just use Facebook groups as an example. A group, a community of some kind where my dream client is hanging out. I know this sounds maybe, I've heard that before, but let me just explain it a little bit deeper because the first part of it is understanding who the dream client is, who the person is that you want to serve, right? That's the word. And again, so many people don't know what it is. I'm telling you, they've done avatars, they've done this, and every single person, I shouldn't say everybody, but 99.9% of the people I work with show me their avatar stuff to work, and I go, that's great, but here's what a dream client is like. Wow. So that's the first work. I would do that. Once I know who that is, then I would find areas. And this is exactly what I did. So I would do it all over again, and go in and add value. And when I talk about add value, it's sharing my genius, sharing my frameworks if I have them, sharing things that help the person right then and there, not surface level stuff. Hey,
Mm.
you know what? You should change your mindset and get goals, right? Like, no, seriously, here's the thing that I do to do this. Like, try this out and let me know, right? That kind of thing. And just serve. And that's what I mean. Like, that's where see, I'm going back to my framework. I can't get it out of my head. It's about
Mhm.
curating the tribe. Who do I want to work with? And then go serve them. So if you go serve them, then that's where the followers grow. That's where the people grow. That's where people come in. And here's the problem with this framework is that when you're serving, the people you talk to, I'll just say, whatever it is, you're in threads or something. So let's say it's, in the real estate industry, with other communities or whatever, and you went in there and you started sharing your knowledge rather than trying to just get something out of the community, you're giving into
Mhm.
the community all the time. And you're like, well, why would I be doing that? Well, the point is that you have dream clients who are watching you from the sidelines. I'll say that again. Dream clients are watching you from the shadows. You don't see them, they don't engage with you, you don't know they're watching. But let's say that you were going in there and you're engaging, and then you say to me, Joey, this is crap. I've been doing this for like a month, and nobody's reached out to me about my offer or my JV or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I don't know what the timeline is. And this is the downside of what I teach. This is what the hardest part. I go, you have to just trust in the universe. And the only way you're going to trust in the universe is to be speaking to people that you truly love. Because if you're in there to make money based on an avatar, you're going to get real bored real fast. You're going to say, this is crap. And you're going to change it. You're going to put another post, right? You're going to change everything. But once you plant the post and you start talking about that every single day and helping people, the people out here that are not engaging with you are the ones who reach out. They're the
Yeah.
ones who start going, Monica, I totally love what you're saying, and I'd love to know more about what you do or whatever. That's what I would do. And it's not the most popular thing because everybody has well, start a lead magnet or, whatever, do a webinar, do this thing. Like, those all work. I get it. Those, I guess. But for me, I just want to be able to do something that I can continue to do, that I love to do, that I'm great at, that I don't have to think about. And so what I just told you, I've been doing since 2019 when I had to rebuild my business. 2019 was one of the worst ever. I barely could put the lights on. I made like $10,000 the entire year. It was like
Mhm.
crazy. But I did that every single day. And it was an emotional time every day to get up and, you know, help people, knowing that what they were posting, I could say, let's get on the call and let me let me try to sell them into a coaching thing. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but I just decided to do something different. And today I still do the same thing, but it's not the fastest way.
No, and faster doesn't mean better because everyone's being sold to.
Yeah,
And what do they say? Everyone wants to buy, but no
but
one
they don't want
wants
to
to
be
be
sold. Yeah,
sold to.
no.
And it's not about look at me, I can do this and I'm going to charge this and I just want to work with anyone just in that exchange. It really is, I think, even what you said about showing up in those rooms and giving help, because I know how you work in those rooms and I've taken that advice too, and I give that to our students as well. It's not about like, oh, I have like say if someone has a real estate problem. Well, why don't you try this and learn more in my course? Don't buy
Right,
now. It's
right.
not that, but it's, hey, why don't you try this? I had this happen to me too, like 10 years ago, and I did XYZ, or I had a client recently that did this, and we did this, and this made all the difference. Hope this helps. Then you're
Yes,
like, first of all, you're
yes,
helping because it's exciting to answer those questions. You want to help. And then, second of all, like you said, those people in the shadows who are watching, or even that person might send you a DM at that point. Go, listen, I'd love to learn more about that. Can we jump on a call to discuss?
yeah,
And that's when you're like, sure, and then you get them and just learn. And that's when you're screening them. Is this a client, for me? Is this someone that I would want to work with? Like when you're talking to them, even, it's good to just jump on and having not someone can pick your brain and take all your knowledge and go and use it on their own. If they want to do that, that's fine. But the point of it is a true relationship is built slowly. And like you say, everything that you do in that room, that consistency, even though you're going through that hard time, you still showed up. And I think that's total success and you're consistent. Anyone who goes on any of our Instagram stuff or anything business and personal, all you'll see is the three things I stand for: time, money, freedom. Time, money, freedom. It's that simple. What it's not real estate investing and I'm so cool and look at me like it used to be.
Yeah.
I've changed. It's now, wow, look at me at my daughter's soccer game. I could afford to be here right now, midday at her school tournament, because I created my life and my business and structured it around this so I can actually be present. To me, this is my time, money, freedom
And that's what people
moment.
want. Like
Hmm.
you when you live that life that other people want and you share that, that's what they're looking for. The real estate, the money and all that stuff is great, but it's like why do you have the money? Why do you have the freedom? Why did Vaughn leave the job? You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff. Everything that you guys stand for, everything you guys did, you live it. And you're building your freedom out now. And that's what everybody listening to this needs to understand. It may not be immediate. It may not be the perfect life that you want right now, but start somewhere. Start with a day off or something. Start with a weekend, like a free Friday or whatever. Just do something that resonates with your free life or a day that no business happens or no electronics happens and you just go out with each other, your spouse or whatever. You just, whatever that looks like, and
Absolutely.
design
No,
it.
you have to. You design your life. Live your life or your life will live you.
Yeah,
That's very, very tiring. Yeah.
that's
You
a great quote.
I love that. I think I learned that from you too.
I don't know if I said that, but
Well,
I'll
I think
take
a
it.
lot of these great thoughts and stuff spearhead other thoughts, which just go to positivity because money can come and go. Financial freedom. I've been learning a lot about financial freedom, even going through these interviews and what
Yeah.
it means to these amazingly intelligent and successful people, not because they're just successful financially, but also successful in life. And a lot of them are the first to admit money comes and goes, business ebbs and flows, but this present is forever. That is your
Yeah.
present moment. This is all you have. And so everything could be falling apart around you, business wise. Your bank accounts might be drained, frozen, whatever. That could be happening in a business moment. There's no guarantees in business either. But here you are on a soccer field watching someone who knows you and loves you in a happy relationship with your spouse, and your other kids are calling and saying, "What's up?" And you have friends and family around. You need to find joy in the life that you create for yourself. And that's when your business kind of serves your life, not vice versa.
Yeah, you can't be defined by your business. Like, why don't define your life by the way that you live, by the freedom, right? Like, if
Yeah.
everything is based on how your business is running, you're going to be in stress a lot of times, and that's going to show up in so many other areas of your life, and you may not even realize it. So, yes, there's stressful times. Yes, there's times that you just don't want to be bothered, but if you're living the life of freedom as much as you can now, it will be more. Remember, I've said this many, many times as speaking live, and I would ask people what what they wanted. And aside from like more family time and money, blah blah blah, they would always say freedom. Like that was the biggest thing. And I say, what motivates you? And they're like, freedom. I'm like, cool. And so I always said that freedom motivates me, but not as much as losing freedom, right? So for me, it's about losing freedom because I
Mhm.
live in the moment now. This is the freedom I've got. This is it, like right now. Now, can I imagine more? Yeah, that'd be amazing. But if you said to me, I'm going to take it away and strip it all away, but but you could, maximize this 1,000 times more if you start all over, but you gotta take it all away. I'd say, no, thank you. I'm good. I'm going to stay the way that I am because I'm happy,
Mhm.
right? Like it's important to be happy in the moment. And it doesn't mean you have a limited mindset of looking forward. It just means I have a limited mindset of going backwards. Like don't take this away from me. If this is all I get for the rest of my life, I'm good. Why? Because I've designed freedom the way that I like now.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's more of a matter of identifying what you don't want than what you do.
Yes.
And I don't
Yes.
want to work longer, and I don't want to be away more, and I don't want less me time, and I don't want, and then when you figure that out, sometimes we have to reverse engineer
Yes.
this. Um,
Yes.
what do you see the top 1 to 2% wealthiest people and families doing consistently that the rest of the world ignores or avoids?
That's an easy one. They say no, like 99% of the time, and protect their time. They buy back their time. This is the one thing that I learned, and I'm going to give full credit to Dan Martell for this. I've heard this before and everything else, but Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, I think everybody should read it. But that was the one that helped me understand more about what it means to buy back your time and finally get teams together. That's what they do. So the top 1% of people um, use money to buy time, and other people save money to try and buy other things, right? So, but I don't. I invest money into buying back my time, like, assistance, whatever it is, programs for AI, whatever. I just invest that time because I know it's going to take I'm going to get all this time back. And I've proven this again and again and again to all my clients for the last year because they've known I've been in this back tax project since February. I'm like, oh my God, I'm 5 years behind again. And I'm building, now I'm building, I want to talk to that for a second. Could I just, because
Yeah,
everybody listen to this?
absolutely.
Because when I was in the real estate, as my primary thing, the front burner, I was 5 years behind in 2019. I think it was 2018, sorry, 2018 and 5 years back. 5 years behind on my tax, freaking out. And I literally had to shut down the business because I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper. I had to figure out how am I going to get these things in. And so it shut down my business. It was really, really painful, but I got through it. I said then to my wife, and she always makes fun of me. I go, this is never going to happen again.
Mhm.
5 years later, here we are. Okay. Here we are. But it's over now. Okay. By this recording, it's over. It lasted like 2 weeks ago. Okay. But it took me from February to August 30th of this whole year
Mhm.
of behind in taxes again, 5 years. But now I've got uh, multiple companies. I've got 35, 40,000 bank accounts. Like it's heavy, right? The
Mhm.
reason I'm telling you this is because the first time I did it, I panicked and I did not build anything for systems. This time around, I was pressured. Like when you have the government on top of you, it's pressure, right? Every single day. And
Mhm.
I chose my challenge. I chose my pain. And it was hard. Everybody was like, holy crap, you got to get to the government. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but I'm going to build this system in order for me to not ever do this again. So I have now over 50 or 60, maybe even more, maybe 100 SOPs built on everything that I was doing inside QuickBooks and you name it. Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Here's how we do this, here's how we do this, here's how we do this. Hours and hours and hours. Even hired somebody on, spending hours on that. So the point of the story is that when you are under pressure and in the darkest moments, that's the time to slow down. People think it's like, no, I need to get out of this as fast as possible. I was there 5 years back in 20, whatever it was, 2018. I was there. I understand what that means. Let me get this off my plate so I can get the government off my head.
Mhm.
You got to choose your battle. And I chose the wrong battle back then because I ended up in the same place. I didn't hire anybody. I didn't buy back my time. I thought I could do it all again. And every single year or every single month was like, I don't want to do these financials. I'll do it next month. Like I'll get to it. Right. 5 years later in the same boat. But
Yeah.
now you look at anything that I'm doing, like even the bookkeeper that I have now, she's like, holy crap, I just have to follow this one thing and I know how to balance Stripe or PayPal or something. I go, yeah, because I figured it all out. So I
Mhm.
was slowing down and I let go of the pressure of the government on top of me saying, get your taxes in. We've assessed you, right? You know when they assess you and it's like,
Yeah.
holy crap, I don't know that much money. And so people are like, how can you deal with all of this pressure? I go, you have to choose the pressure. And I'm choosing the pressure of saving future Joey's life. Because I know sooner or later something's going to happen, and maybe the bookkeeper quits or something like that, and I bring in a new people, and then they're going to go, "How do you do this?" I'm like, if I didn't have systems, I'm like, "Oh, holy crap! I don't know how to do that. I don't know how I did it, right? Because I was rushing through it in the first place." So this whole story was to amplify what you said about systems, and it
Yeah.
releases the pressure, which means you have freedom.
I love that. I love that. And I totally agree. And thank you for sharing that. And we were in the same situation that you helped us get out of, and you made us face it, and you made us freeze everything. And when we first started out and do the same thing with our taxes, and you made
Oh,
me learn QuickBooks, you really took me out of my natural element. And because of that, what finally I learned to do that. And then our accountant said, okay, you need to stop now. You know enough. Now we pass it off to other people. And now
Love
when
it.
we go through things as well, I have the accountant and the bookkeeper in the background, so I don't have to fall behind again like that. But I never would have been able to get there if I'm not able to know what I know. And that's because you made us actually stop all the fun, exciting stuff, searching for properties and do everything and focus on the boring stuff.
Yeah, see,
And that
I
comes
was
down to
teaching
knowing your
you.
business. Yeah.
See, I wasn't following my own advice. Like, I'm like, well, and then I found myself in the same place. So now, even with my clients today, we talk about team building or how to get the right team and all these other kind of things. And they're like, what does this have to do with marketing or making money? I'm like, it has everything to do with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, it has everything to do with it. And you don't want to be in this situation because I know what it feels like twice. And I also know what it feels like now to be out of freedom. I just wrote a post. I don't know if you read it, but I wrote a post a couple of days ago because of this. And it said, you don't know what you have until it's gone. And what I'm talking about is the pressure. You don't know what freedom feels like until the pressure is gone. If you haven't gone through pressure, failure, bankruptcy, whatever it is, if you don't know what it is, you don't know what it means. You don't know what it feels like to be successful, right? So people push away the pain, they push away the failures. And I'm like, that's a mistake. I know it
Mhm.
sucks when you go through it, but that's life tuition. If you don't go through it, you don't know what the other side feels like. You'll never know.
Well, let's look at it this way. Let's close on this note.
Okay.
And you're not the first speaker during the summit which come to this revelation and brought this out. This isn't just a feel-good seminar. This is the truth that we're speaking here. Financial freedom is fleeting. It's not a destination that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
achieve and then you're there and you've arrived. Wealth building and wealth never stops. That's what we always say. And your life never stops until it stops.
yeah.
So everything has to be assessed and prioritized and set up. So let's not call it's I think let's call this more the financial freedom journey than the financial freedom destination. So
Yeah. It's you don't know what the next level is until you get to the peak. Like you don't know the other mountains are there. All
and
you
we're
see is the
always
one you want to
growing
climb.
anyways. Each next summit is going to have a totally different new presentation of challenges and values. And if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
So you have to continue to grow until finally, then you're just kind of resting and doing whatever. Even if, let's say now you're, say, 60, 65 years old, you're retired, you're golfing, playing tennis, resting, you have your money working for you in these different accounts or whatever, may be totally passive. What are you going to do when then all of a sudden everything's gone? Things can
Uh-huh.
change still. You still got to really kind of plan that what this means for you.
Hmm.
So this has been a great, I think we've been going on for over an hour. This is one of the longer interviews, but I love it. I
You know me, I
appreciate
can't
it
shut
so
up.
much. Me neither. Something else we have in common. Well, there's nothing better than good conversation. So
Yeah, thank
is
you.
there anything else you want to share with our audience before we jump off?
No, I think I've shared a lot here. I just think the main thing of this is just to think of yourself first. And I know that that sounds so, you know, selfish, but think of yourself first and design everything around that. Even if it's you're married and you have kids and all that, have an hour of time for yourself because the more you can rejuvenate and recharge and remove everything that's around you that you maybe have to carry on your shoulders, the better you're going to be. And that's a lot of people just forget about that. They think that especially in the European world, like I'm Italian and that's all it is, like everything's about everybody else. And I love that, but man, you're just killing yourself. So freedom comes from making it all about you first so that you can help everybody else around you in the most energetic way.
Yeah, being selfish is sometimes the most selfless thing that
Yeah.
you can do because if you're continuously giving yourself to everyone
Yeah.
else and not growing as yourself, what kind of role model are you showing other people? And are you showing up for yourself as your best self? In order
Right.
to get what does it take to make yourself your best self? And then you present that to your wife. Then you present that to your kids. So what if you need to go an hour nap? I know you still have to
Hmm.
nap.
Oh gosh.
Every morning
God,
because
yeah.
that makes you in a better mood for your clients.
Oh
That
yeah.
nap, you taking an hour off for yourself so no one knows to bug you, makes you a better dad, make better husband, and better client. So I
100%.
agree with you. This was so good, Joey. Thank you so much for doing this and spreading so much love and joy and so great to be sharing our old coaching relationship as well. I'll forever be your lifelong
Thank you.
mentor,
Thank
mentee,
you.
and geez, there's no better coach than we've ever had before.
Oh my gosh.
And
I
audience, you got to look up Joey. Like he's just amazing here.
thank
So,
you.
and I thank you so much for that. And audience, thank you for tuning in. I hope you stuck around for this full hour because this was pretty packed with gems. And tomorrow, pay attention to your inbox because we'll be sending another interview from another expert sharing their wealth building strategy to help fast track your financial freedom. So we'll see you all soon.